Listeriosis, the Listeria infection by Group 3. This project will focus on the current 2011 listeriosis outbreak here in the United States. Listeria monocytogenes is a bacterium that causes the foodborne illness listeriosis. It was first called bacterium monocytogenes by E.G.D. Murray when he isolated the gram-positive rods from the blood of rabbits back in 1926. It was in 1940 that J.H. Harvey Peary changed the genus name to Listeria because of the bacterium's particular catalase-positive gram-positive rods. The bacterium's pathogenic potency was not realized until 1949 when an epidemic of listeriosis in newborns happened in Germany. J. Patel was able to isolate the bacteria from various organs such as the liver and spleen in newborns and classify the bacterium in the genus Corynebacterium. At the same time, H.P.R. Siegler examined those same lesions, but detected that the motility of the pathogens were consistent with Listeria rather than Corynebacterium. It was then that listeriosis research truly began. Siegler compiled the first overview of Listeria and listeriosis in the book Listeriosis to inform the public about this pathogenic bacterium. Some properties of Listeria monocytogenes includes its ability to multiply at low temperatures. Although active motility is by means of flagella at room temperature, virulence is actually characterized by a phenomenon called growing actin tails, in which the bacteria move themselves into, within, and between host cells by polymerization of host cell actin at one end of the bacterium, which can propel the bacteria through cytoplasm. The bacteria is taken up by induced phagocytosis as seen in the picture. Listeria monocytogenes produces toxins called hemolysins as well. Under the genus Listeria, there are 6 different species. It is consistently found that only Listeria monocytogenes is associated with human illness. There are 13 disease-causing serotypes of Listeria monocytogenes, but it is only 3 serotypes that more than 90% of human isolates belong to. Since the 1980s, 33 to 50% of major food outbreaks in Europe and North America are caused by serotype 4b strain. Listeria monocytogenes is commonly found in soil and water. Animals can act as a reservoir carrying the bacterium without appearing ill and contaminate foods of animal origin, such as meat and dairy products. Due to the nature of its reservoirs and transmission, Listeria is found not only in every state, but in the soil and water around the globe. Transmission of human infections generally follow consumption of contaminated food. Rare cases of nosocomial transmission have been reported, though. Listeria bacteria can also get into a food processing factory where they can live for years, sometimes contaminating food products. A number of foods have been found to house the bacterium, such as uncooked meats and vegetables, as well as foods that become contaminated after cooking or processing, such as soft cheeses, processed meats, such as hot dogs and deli meat, and smoked seafood. Unpasteurized milk and cheeses and other foods made from unpasteurized milk are particularly likely to contain Listeria. Listeria is killed by pasteurization and cooking. However, in some ready-to-eat foods, such as hot dogs and deli meats, contamination may occur after factory cooking but before packaging. Unlike most bacteria, Listeria can grow and multiply in some foods in the refrigerator. Approximately 1,600 cases annually in the United States, with more than 1,400 hospitalizations and 250 deaths, are caused by Listeria. Each year in the U.S., about 800 lab-confirmed cases of Listeria are reported, and typically 3 or 4 outbreaks are identified. The incubation period varies depending on temperature and atmosphere, but typically it is 3 to 70 days. The symptoms are fever, stiff neck, confusion, weakness, vomiting, and sometimes diarrhea. First and foremost, consult your doctor immediately if you develop any of the following symptoms. Pregnant women may only experience fever, chills, and mild flu-like symptoms. However, it may lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, and other birth complications. Patients with AIDS may experience muscle aches, headaches, loss of balance, and convulsions, in addition to the previously mentioned symptoms. Some common clinical presentations in immune-compromised patients include sepsis, meningitis, and acute febrile gastroenteritis. If you are present with any of the previous symptoms, listeriosis can only be confirmed after complete isolation of the bacteria. If you are pregnant, tests can be ran by taking sterile blood, spinal fluid, or amniotic fluid. If diagnosed with the illness, the doctor will usually prescribe antibiotics as treatment, which will last about 10 days. Unfortunately, there are currently no vaccines. Ultimately, death can result if the illness is not taken care of. Every year, 1,600 Americans become sick, and approximately 1 out of 6 cases die. The chart shown was taken from the CDC's Mortality and Morbidity Weekly Report for the current outbreak of Listeria. It shows how many cases were reported during the previous week, the total cases reported so far this year, and the weekly average. The number of cases reported in the last 5 years is shown as well. The current outbreak of listeriosis is associated with Rocky Ford brand cantaloupe from Jensen Farms in Colorado and has affected 25 states. As of October 11, 2011, 116 persons have been affected, and there are 23 confirmed deaths. Also, one pregnant woman at the time of the illness had a miscarriage. The map provided is an image count of the outbreak as of October 11, 2011. The number of cases is expected to increase due to the long incubation period and the late onset of symptoms. With the available information, illnesses began on or after July 31, 2011. The epi curve provided is current as of October 11, 2011. Illnesses that occurred after September 16, 2011 might not be reported because of the long incubation time and late onset of symptoms. Some control measures include a recall of Rocky Ford cantaloupes and cantaloupes processed through various food processors like ones in Kansas and New York. Also, further consumption of affected cantaloupes should stop. The FDA also suggests washing and scrubbing all foods. It is also suggested that you should sanitize areas such as the walls and shelves of refrigerators that have had the cantaloupes, but most importantly, when in doubt, throw it out. Most people reporting the illness confirm they consumed cantaloupes. Investigators have not stated how they believe the contamination occurred because the bacteria is found practically everywhere. But they have found the bacteria on melons and equipment in the Colorado packing house and on melons in a Denver area store, along within one of the victims' homes. In the United States, 1,600 cases are reported annually. Compared to 1996 to 1998, the incidence of listeriosis had declined by about 38% by 2003. However, illnesses and deaths continue to occur. Before 2011, the largest outbreak was in 2002 with 54 illnesses, 8 deaths, and 3 fetal deaths in 9 states after consumption of the contaminated turkey deli meat. Currently, the 2011 outbreak is the largest one yet, with the investigation being ongoing. There are many ways to prevent listeriosis. Some future general recommendations is to rinse raw produce, scrub firm produce with a clean produce brush, dry the produce with a clean cloth or paper towel, and separate uncooked food from vegetables, cooked foods, and ready-to-eat foods. Keeping your kitchen and environment cleaner and safer is another way too. This can be done by washing your hands and utensils after handling and preparing uncooked foods, making sure your refrigerator is at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or lower and the freezer 0 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, and cleaning all spills right away. In consideration of listeriosis outbreak in cantaloupes, the FDA suggests you should wash your hands and the fruit with warm water and soap for at least 20 seconds. Scrub the surface of the fruit, promptly consume or refrigerate the fruit with refrigeration no more than 7 days, and discard cut fruit left at room temperature for more than 4 hours. Cantaloupes from Jensen Farms should be discarded immediately, and the areas that the cantaloupes may have touched should be cleaned and sanitized. And of course, when in doubt, throw it out.